All right, good morning, second grade students. Today for social studies, we are going to be looking at a suburb map. And so from our last lesson, we had looked at a rural map. And so today we're going to be looking at what would kind of be considered the opposite of a rural map, which would be the suburbs. So again, just to review from our last lesson, remember that there are different kinds of communities. And so again, in our last lesson, we highlighted on what it was like to live in a rural community. And so almost half of the people in the United States live in communities called suburbs. So that's a lot of the population. So almost half of the people in the United States live in communities called suburbs. And suburbs are communities near big cities. So as cities grew more and more crowded, people started building houses farther away from the city. And this is how the suburbs were created. So originally, suburbs were mostly made up of homes with a few businesses nearby. And so with that, people would commute from their homes in the suburbs to the city in order to work. And now, suburbs are the fastest growing communities in our country. So let's underline that because that is pretty important, and it's also pretty impressive that suburbs are the fastest growing communities. This is where most people would like to live and then commute into the city in order to work or go to school or do their shopping or other fun activities. So suburbs have many housing developments. The houses tend to be newer and are grouped together along streets. So many of the houses have nice size yards to them. They also include shopping malls, businesses, and offices in these suburbs. So people live and work in suburbs. Some people will still travel from the suburbs to work in a nearby city as well. So let's take a look at the map on the right of a suburb. So let's first read the caption here at the bottom. So it says, "Welcome to Elgin." Now, Elgin is a real city in the United States. So here it says, Elgin is a suburb. It is a community near the big city of Chicago. So maybe some of you have been to Chicago, Illinois before, and Chicago is huge. It has everything you could possibly want for shopping, entertainment, fun, lots of parks, and many people, because it's such a big town, they choose to work in Chicago, but they live in smaller towns or suburbs right outside of Chicago. And Elgin is an example of one of the suburbs of Chicago. All right, so let's talk about some of the parts that make up the suburb area. So on our map, we notice at the top left, we have an area that kind of looks like a park area. And then we see kind of the taller buildings kind of in the background. And then across the street, we see multiple houses here. So we see many homes. And then we see, so we have Oak Street, we have Willow Road, we have Pine Street, and we have Market Street. So compared to our rural map that had just the one country road and then it turned onto another road that took you into the city. A suburb, we're going to see many roads that make up that part of the suburb. All right, so next we're going to notice again some more houses here. And then we're also going to notice that in the suburbs, we're going to be seeing lots of places that you can shop. So for example, we're going to have gas stations and like a quick mart, so kind of like a grocery store or just a store to pick up some quick things. We'll see many different restaurants, and especially when you get into big suburbs and big cities, like for us, we could say like Phoenix and all the areas around Phoenix. We see that we have a lot more restaurants and places to shop compared to maybe like when we go to like Pine Top or Show Low. So like for Phoenix, like Phoenix would be the really big city. And so suburbs of Phoenix could be like Apache Junction and like cities like that. We also see the grocery store and also a video store as well. And then at the bottom, then again, we see many different types of homes. So again, we are seeing on a suburb map that we have, instead of just farms and land, in a suburb, we don't see a lot of free land. So we see land that is being used to build houses and businesses in this area. So to wrap up our lesson, let's look at our vocabulary words for our lesson. So first up we have city. And so a city is a large or important town. And a dot on a map shows where a city is found. Next up, we have, again, a very familiar word, community. And a community is a group of people who live together in the same area. And lastly, our new word for today is suburb. And so remember, a suburb is a community near a city. All right, and that wraps up our social studies lesson for today.